Good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is Sunday, September 21st. My name is Miriam Kareem, and I'm so happy to have you all here tonight to our Sunday edition of our leadership call, taught by none other than Coach Will Zanders. Um, we have had such an amazing boot camp. Um, Brought so many things to mind. Something that really came to my mind a while ago, maybe this afternoon, was something that I heard on a motivational tape. And it said that don't be late to the celebration of your success. And not meaning that you're late, you're getting there 5 minutes, merely meaning that there's so many people that are just waiting to celebrate you, but you're taking your time or you're letting things distract you. And I'm just talking to myself first because, yeah, I've been late to the celebration of my success. Can't keep doing that. Be early, be before everybody else gets there. So that it'll just be so much sweeter. So that being said, I'd like to introduce you all to our teacher tonight, Coach Will Zanders. He is a multiple seven-figure earner in the network marketing world, a seven-figure earner at our Green Organics company at HBN, and our first six-figure earner at Golden Sign. An amazing teacher, always has a way to get you in a great mindset to build your business. So, Coach Will Zanders, are you available, sir?
I am available, Miriam. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for your kind words and thank you for all that you do, not just for us on these calls, but for the company at large. I got a lot of feedback after Vegas, and a lot of our leaders, I tell you, they had some amazing things to say about several people, but you were definitely one of those people, and they're looking forward to you having a larger speaking role at the next one. So just be working on some material. I know we talked about it previously, but the demand is there and we want to give the people what they want. And you sharing your journey as you've been growing from rep to making thousands and thousands of dollars to becoming a diamond with the company. And now you're building a team. It's the right amount of leadership, real life experience. And I know people really appreciate that because they tell me that pretty regularly. So thank you again. And thank you, Coach Marcus, as well, for putting this call together. I did go get, on the technical side, I did go get a phone like Coach Seymour. I don't know if Coach Seymour is on the call, but if he is, the Samsung people finally won me over. And I did go get Coach Seymour's exact phone. I know Coach Sonic is fond of saying it's okay to be a copycat as long as you copy the right cat. And so I got to tell you, Coach Seymour, I convert. You got me, bro. You got me, man. I was on the verge. So just a couple quick announcements. Look, Rasan got the same phone. That's what I'm talking about. Quick update on Vegas. In-person tickets are sold out, just so y'all know. They sold out in less than 48 hours. And it just happens. And so if you want to get an in-person ticket, you will have to be on a wait list for that. Typically, a couple people won't be able to make it, and you may be able to get a ticket for them if they decide not to attend online or in person. Let me know, and I can get y'all connected on the wait list. The VIP tickets sold out in like 40 minutes, so ain't none of those left. And we do have a wait list for VIP tickets as well, but we talked about that on the calls last week. So yeah, and Coach Marcus, I still got my iPhone, but that Samsung is something ridiculous. It's disgustingly epic, is what it is. So just another quick update I'm going to give you right now. We're not going to talk a lot about the systems tonight. I really want to share a really fun exercise with everybody tonight. This is something that we normally reserve for our personal development groups that we have, but I want to share this particular exercise on a call this evening. It'll be the bulk of the call because I know that for a lot of you, it can make a huge difference. And also, please, y'all show some love in the chat to Eureka Harrison out of Virginia. I had a chance to meet that young lady and some members of her friend group and now her organization when Gina Wilson and Roz and Carolyn and Coach Charlotte and Kenya all showed up in Newport News, Virginia, and we had a blast. That was one of the most fun meetings I've done all year. Rhonda was there for sure. Rhonda Peterson was there. It was just an amazing event in Newport News, Virginia. Virginia's going to blow up this year. I truly, truly believe that. And I'm not going to tell Eureka's story on this call. We'll save that for one day because I know she's going to have an amazing story. She's an absolutely phenomenal young lady, and everybody with her from Roz introduced me to were just amazing. So let's talk a little bit about systems for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll dive into a really, really important exercise. I'm going to give you these systems right now. We're not going to go in depth. But, and again, we have so many talented people here. I just need you to understand the theme of what we talked about in Las Vegas. And the theme was, if it doesn't duplicate, it really doesn't matter because you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out. I know far too many people that are very talented network marketers, and they will make 25, 50, 100,000, sometimes $250,000, but they always burn out. And they only burn out not because of their lack of talent. They're talented. They're talented. They burn out because what they're doing is simply not duplicatable. Just doesn't work. I can't sponsor a new rep and day one say, okay, just go talk to some people, sign some people up. Let me know if you need some help. Let me know if you need a three-way call. Let me know if you need anything. I can't do that because they're 97% of the time going to fail because they don't know what to say and do. They don't know who to say it to. They don't know the right words to say. They will, and the worst part is because our products and our pay plan is so amazing, and because social media is such an amazing tool, a person technically could start day one, start posting their products, posting their links, post some testimonials, post some before and after pictures, and they can get a couple of quick orders. They really can. They can make a couple $100s in a month just by putting products all over social media on all of their social media channels. That is not going to be sustainable to make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. It just doesn't work. Just doesn't work because at some point your timeline starts to look like a commercial. And what do we all do with commercials? We skip them. We just get the little remote, we just skip them. Okay. Or we pay extra to have no ads. Like I pay for YouTube Premium and Hulu Premium and this, that, and the third because I don't want ads. I don't want to see commercials. And that eventually is going to happen to your business if all you do is product on social media 7 days a week, every day. So there are some things that your new team members have to learn in addition to posting your products on social media, which you should post your products on social media. But again, it can burn you out very quickly. It'll cap your income at a certain level. People will eventually stop engaging and buying and exchanging on your posts because you're giving no value. No value of whatever type that is. So just be careful that whatever you're doing, make sure that it duplicates and make sure that anybody on your team can do it. And that is going to help you build the big team. And big team equals big volume equals big check. Little team equals little volume equals little check. And we cannot get around the mathematical certainty of that. So system number one is an onboarding system. System number two is a retail system, a customer acquisition system. And these do not have to be high tech, by the way. I'll tell you what some of mine are in a second. The third system, and these should be learned in order, by the way. These should be learned sequentially, all right? The third system is a recruiting system. You should learn how to recruit. Well, Will, why would I want to get onboarded or learn how to do onboarding before I start recruiting? Because until you onboard, which is launching your business and learning the basics, and until you learn how to create real customers, okay, what are you going to teach anybody that actually joins you? One of the worst things that can happen is someone, the second one, Francine, was retail. And shout out to Francine. Francine is in Canada, and French is her first language. So the way, as fast as I speak, it is always a shout out to Francine because it is tough having English as a second language with an English company. But Francine is doing absolutely amazing. So that being said, because retail, if you recruit somebody too early in the business, which happens all the time, it's okay. You might get lucky and they might plug into the systems and they'll be okay. But let's say you recruit someone into the business and you've never sold a single product to an actual customer. You've never onboarded. You haven't clicked on 3 links a day. You've never seen the videos that validate the network marketing industry. You have no idea that it takes new skill sets and new mindsets to get involved and be successful in this business. What are you going to teach that person? Literally, you don't know anything to teach them. And that's the tough part. Okay. So you want to learn these in order. Most people on this call know these already. I'll tell you why I'm giving you this list anyway in a second. The 4th system is going to be retention. We talk about it every couple of weeks. It's very important. It's not just about getting people into the business, it's about keeping people in the business and moving them forward along a path of success. Okay. The 5th system is going to be recognition. Very, very, very valuable. Okay. Very valuable. Number 6, lead generation. Lead generation. Okay. How to find an endless supply of people to talk to. This does not need to be learned day one, because you can find 1 million people to talk to, but if you don't know what to say and what to do, it's kind of irrelevant, honestly. Okay. And then number 7 is going to be a system of daily personal development. You need to be either listening to audiobooks or reading books or listening to audios or watching videos at least 10 minutes a day. You should be feeding your mind. You should be feeding your mind, because you are where you are today in life because of the things that have gone into your mind. I'll say it again. You are where you are literally today in any aspect of your life, with the exception of health challenges that have nothing to do with you. You are where you are because of the things that have gone into your mind. Okay. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. So those are the 7 systems. Now, we have very, very, very talented people in this organization. We are blessed with quite frankly, some of the finest coaches and leaders and team builders in the industry somehow magically find their way to this organization. So for them, they may have their own way of doing things for their teams, and we're always going to support that and cheerlead them on. But even they need to have these systems. Their retail system may be totally different than the one I use or the one we teach, and that's okay. They still need to have a system where they teach their new reps, this is how we acquire new customers. Okay. Thank you, Shauna, for the book recommendation there. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the book, The Hidden Empire, in stock. The link, if you don't have that book, the link is in my bio over on Facebook. But that being said, our leaders in this team and in the company, you will have leaders who have a different type of recruiting. They recruit differently than maybe the way we teach, or maybe the way that I personally do it, the way Coach Marcus do it. They may recruit differently the way Coach Sonic or Coach Seymour or Coach Charlotte do it. They may do it differently, but they still need to have a system. When a new person joins your team, you need to tell them something to the effect of, welcome to the team. You made a great decision. We have a proven system that we use that duplicates and develops leadership and creates top earners. Do you want to plug into our system, or do you want to kind of build this business on your own? And then you're silent and you let them answer. But most people will say, I want to plug into the proven system. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to have a system. You just have to. There is no freestyling that ends up being long-term successful in network marketing. So again, you do not have to use our system, but you need to have a system to generate leads. You need to have a retail system. You need to have an onboarding process for your new reps that includes a launch. You need to have a recruiting system. Will, step by step, what do I do and what do I say to recruit a human being into my business? If you can't answer those questions for them out the gate, you probably don't have a system, and you're probably just getting by in this industry based on your non-duplicatable, non-transferable talent and skills. And I can tell you, I've seen it a million times. Well, not a million, but probably a couple thousand for sure, not a million, a couple thousand for sure. Let me speak clearly. You will burn out. You will get frustrated at a certain income level because there's no duplication. And for a very select group of individuals, they will begin to badmouth the company. They will begin to badmouth the upline. They will see people passing them up in the rankings that are new because they're using the system, and they will get frustrated and jealous. I've seen that so many times. And then those individuals are going to sow dissent. Anybody, ask any one of our coaches and leaders who's ever made over $100,000 with any company ever. Ask them, they're in the chat. Do you see or have you seen people become really frustrated because they're not winning at the level they think they should? And then it's got to be the company's fault. It's got to be the upline's fault. It's got to be the product. It can't be me. It's impossible. It can't be me. That's how these people sound. But it can't be me because I don't make mistakes. I don't make mistakes. And they're going to tell as many people as they can, the company's terrible, the products are terrible, the leadership's terrible, the pay plan's terrible, we're going to another company. And then they go, okay, now I'm good because I can try to take as many people as possible, just snatch their dream from them and get them to join me over here and get some fast start bonuses and feed my ego. But guess what? The same process will repeat itself if they don't have a system. If it doesn't duplicate, it doesn't matter. Coach Seymour Greenwich Blake has one of the most amazing recognition systems in the world. It doesn't have to be high tech. When people on this team do anything positive, anything productive, it is a Facebook banner for sure. And at the event, he's going to reward those people. He's going to come out of his own pocket to reward his team and recognize them. Jessica Hill does that too. Kenya and Charlotte do that too as well. It's fun to watch. Who else does that a lot? Ed Banks at the last event, did Ed buys gifts for his team, and they're going to represent and recognize each other, myself and Coach Marcus, obviously. Coach Sonic at an event gave awards away to his team, to Team X Factor. This is what y'all achieved. So you got to understand, you got to watch the leaders and like, hey, they are recognizing people at these events. They're recognizing people on Facebook. You got leaders from other companies. It's funny, Ed put this in the chat. It's a leader from another company, not even with our company, who congratulated Ed and basically claimed success for Ed's success. We all, it was hilarious. Ed posted that in the chat and we all got a good laugh out of it because that's how it is. Now, is that a person Ed respects who's coached him at some point? Yeah, for sure. But not a single dime of that came from working with that person. That's Ed $50-some thousand that he built with this company. But of course, that leader wasn't going to mention our company or anything like that. But it was still funny to watch how important recognition is. It's huge. People in other companies are recognizing you, and some of y'all aren't even recognizing yourselves. So that being said, let me give you an example very quickly about the recruiting system I use. I'm not going to give you the details because you don't have to copy it. We teach it every other week. But the point is, I use buttons. That's number one. I use buttons. Number two, I use business-related drop cards. Number three, I use social media posts and reels and stories and things of that nature to create DMs and to create sales. I use social media. That's the third. I use paid text message traffic 5 days a week. I use paid text message traffic. I pay for traffic. I pay for leads. That's my fourth source. My fifth, I buy emails. I buy huge lists of emails and eventually people join. You can just send out 100 emails, 200, 300, 1,000. People join and they duplicate that, okay? And I do in-person meetings when they're convenient or when I happen to meet somebody out and things of that nature in my warm local market. So just understand that's the 6 things I do to recruit. That's my system. It's not fancy. It's not complicated. It doesn't require a lot of technical skill, but that's what I do and I'll always do that and it's always worked, okay? Retail is not that much different, but again, I just gave you those examples to show you you can create an amazing recruiting system with social media and ClickFunnels and all kind of amazing bells and whistles. Just make sure it's duplicatable and you're going to have a lot more success. Okay, so let's move on. We talked about prior to the event and also in Nashville as well, we talked about different levels of content and put a 1 in the chat if the importance of having systems, even if you create them all on your own, is important. If you see the value in having something for someone to plug into, you can use our stuff, but you don't have to. But if you are going to use our stuff, please use it word for word the way we teach it. When you start to kind of throw some other stuff in there, I can always tell because I'll get messages that say, Will, I sent them this, this, and this, and it didn't work. And then I say, okay, screenshot me exactly what you sent, exactly what you did. And I look at it and I go, nope, nope, nope. We didn't teach that. We taught something that looked like that, but you freestyled at some point and that's why it didn't work. And they go, okay, all right. So that happens. So if you're going to do our stuff, do it the way we do it, please. Make your first, I don't know, $100,000, 200,000. Then if you want to change, but you probably won't want to. Okay. So we talked about level 1, 2, and 3 content leading up to Las Vegas. And I mean, leading up to Nashville. And we've been giving you bits and pieces of the formula there. Now, level 1 content is content that will teach you how to do a thing. So if you notice, Coach Marcus's session on the financial houses, okay, was level 1 content. It was showing you how to do a thing that a lot of people simply didn't know how to do. They're like, oh, I didn't know how to pay that off and move this, take this money, move this over here. I didn't know that. That was new. I remember the first time I heard Coach Marcus train on that. And a lot of the stuff I either had never heard before or I was doing it on accident and didn't know that there was a process to make it better. So that's level 1 content. Now, level 2 content is not going to be content that teaches you how to do a thing. Level 2 content is going to be content that teaches you how to do something better. So when Coach Tina Rose Heuermann took the stage, she wasn't teaching you how to do social media. You know how to post. You know how to add a friend on social media. She was showing you how to do social media better, specifically lives and live video. She was showing all of us how to do it better. That is level 2 content. Okay. And then you have level 3 content, which is content that changes the way you think about certain things. That is the formula. That is the secret to level 3 content. Is it going to change the way that my audience thinks about something? Okay, you got that. That is content. So when we came up and at Nashville, when we talked about root cause nutrition and how mineral and nutrient deficiencies are causing some diseases, and that you really want to avoid going to the hospital, not because doctors are inherently bad, but because doctors accidentally kill 300 to 400,000 people a year. Once you see those numbers and you Google that, you go, okay, I probably need to stay out of the hospital if I can. If I can, okay? That changes the way a lot of people saw our products, and it changes the way a lot of people see the medical industry. Their doctors are good people. I got doctors in my family. I know doctors, but for some reason, still over 250,000 Americans are dying every year from medical error. That should change your mind about the way you think about taking care of your health and trying not to get sick in the first place with preventative root cause nutrition. Okay, so we're going to talk more tonight about some level 3 content. Now, do me a favor, get some paper out if you got paper and pen, or you can take notes on your computer. I'm just going to give you some verses right quick from the Bible. You don't have to write these down. This is not part of the framework we're using, okay? Proverbs 23:7, it says, for as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, or as a woman thinketh in her heart, so is she, okay? Just understand the way that you think in your heart, like deep, deep down, that is what is going to create your reality. What you really think about yourself deep, deep down on a subconscious level that you may not be aware of, that is going to create your actual reality. This is why when people who live in the trailer park win the Powerball, and I'm not knocking people that live in the trailer park. I used to live in a trailer in Natchitoches, Louisiana, so I'm speaking from experience, okay? When people win the Powerball in the trailer park, typically, according to studies, typically broke 2 to 3 years later. They have lost millions of dollars and they're worse off than before. Well, why? Because on the surface level, they became wealthy, but deep down in their heart, they hadn't done the inner work to get rid of what we call the poverty consciousness. You have to change what's in here to change what's out here. You want to change what's in your hand, you have to change what's in your heart. And if you want to change what's in your heart, you have to change what's in your head. That's how that goes. This is why I don't do gossip. This is why when people come to, and it happens every couple of years, it'll just be around the people who ain't making no money, who just want to gossip and talk bad about people. This is every network marketing company. This is a leadership call. I'm keeping it a buck. And it happens every couple of years. And then those people typically either move on or quit. It doesn't matter, but they don't last long because you cannot make money gossiping about other people. I don't care what you think about them. Doesn't matter to me. You just can't make money that way. You cannot win being that person. Just good luck with that, okay? Now, the next verse I'll give you before we get into this framework is going to be one that's one of the most powerful verses I've ever read. It's from the book of Job, chapter 3, and it says, "For the thing which I greatly feared has come upon me, and that of which I was afraid has come unto me." So Job was basically saying there, the stuff that I was scared of, that's really happened to me. Okay, because as a man thinketh in his heart, that's what's going to happen in real life. You period, point blank in the story. Where you are in your life is largely because of the things that have gone into your mind. Period. What you think about. All right. Now, on this particular paper, at the top of the paper, I want you to write down the word fear. Okay, you can just write down fear. All right, that's going to be the topic of this particular exercise and this assignment. Specifically, and we can talk about any fear. Okay, we can talk about any fear, but today we're going to talk about the fear of going broke, the fear of being broke. And we are going to help you begin to alleviate that process. Okay, this is normally some high level personal development work. Some of this stuff will go over some of your heads. Some of you will pick this right up and say, wow, this is what I needed tonight. Okay, because if you have a fear of going broke, do you know that you will not have success in your network marketing business financially, no matter what you do? Because the things that you fear will happen to you. That the things you think about on a subconscious level will happen to you. This is why you have the trailer park example. When people end up broke, you have people that are wealthy that go bankrupt, they go broke, and then they get divorced and lose all their money. They make all their millions back within 2 to 3 years. Why? Because they had a wealth consciousness. They had what we call a prosperity consciousness as opposed to a poverty consciousness. And it's the same thing with health, relationships, and anything else. But tonight we're going to talk about the fear specifically, not the fear of dogs, right? Or the fear of clowns or the fear of drowning. Tonight we're going to address the fear of going broke. So that's at the top of your page. Now, next up, right underneath that, we're going to write the definition of what is broke. Okay, now I'm going to give you a definition, but feel free to Google it or write your own. This is an exercise that you can complete on your own. Okay, so underneath fear, we call fear is going to be put a letter A to the left of that. That's the first line. Then you're going to have the letter B, and we're going to have fear is defined as, or the definition of fear. Fear is having fear of define going broke. I'm sorry, not defining fear. To define being broke. And I would say being broke is having $0 in the bank account. You're unable to pay your bills. You're unable to support your family. That's being broke. You ain't got no money. No money. You can get evicted any day because you're broke. Okay, that's the definition of being broke. Having $0 in the bank account, you're unable to pay your bills, and you're unable to support your family. All right. There are other definitions out there, but for the purposes of this example, we're going to use that one. Because until we get rid of the fear of being broke or the fear of not making money, we can do another one next week if y'all want. That is the fear of failing in network marketing. That's another one. But tonight, we're just going to do the fear of going broke. Now, underneath B, you're going to write the letter C. Okay? And C is going to be, what is the extreme opposite of broke? Put that in the chat. If broke is having $0 in the bank account, you can't pay no bills, you cannot support your family, that's B. C would be the extreme opposite of that. What is the opposite of being flat, absolute broke? What's the opposite? Yeah, wealthy, rich, exactly. So that's going to be under C. Abundance, unlimited money, wealthy, rich, too much money, can get anything you want, passive income covering all your expenses, $1 million a month business, whatever that is, but put just a definition there or some words there so you know what the extreme opposite of broke is. And we'll just call that unlimited money. We'll just call it unlimited money, okay? Unlimited income, right? So that's C. Now, here's the thing. We're going to go down to D now. And 0 means I'm not worried about it at all. A 10 means I am really opposed and fearful of being broke or going broke. So 10 is a paralyzing type of fear where you even think about being broke, you stressed out, your heart start racing, you stressed out. 0 would be I literally don't care. I'm not attached to being broke at all. I literally do not care. I don't care. I'm not scared about being broke. It's not a bother to me. I literally don't care. This is not a pride thing. This is not something that you have to put in the chat. This is something that you need to write down for yourself. And I can tell you, when I first did this exercise years back, I was at a 9, maybe a 10, but I remember my paper was a 9. But in my head, I think it was higher than that, because that is something that I always said I will never be broke. Never. I don't care what I got to do. I'll never be broke. I don't care what it takes. I'm not opposed to being broke. So my answer was super, super high. Okay, super high. All right, let's see if we got some questions in the chat before we move on to E, which is when this exercise really gets fun. She says, it's not being broke that scares me. I don't know what it is yet. Afraid of success. Now, being afraid of success is very possible. It is a lot less common than people think. Usually, it's a fear of something disastrous, living in poverty, anything like that. And it manifests itself as fear of success because our ego can handle that better. But fear of success is a real thing, but it's typically a subconscious thing. And we'll talk a little bit more about that too. All right. A fear of no. So not deserving it is not a fear. Not deserving it is a belief. So there's different exercises to handle different beliefs. This is not that particular day, but we can do that one. We may cover that one next week. Okay. So D is going to be, I want you to rate the feeling that you feel about it. 10 being, I am petrified of this and I do not like it. There is nothing positive I can ever see about being broke. I can't help nobody, can't help myself. I don't want nothing to do with it. I've been there, done that, and I hate it. 0 would be, I really don't care. One way or the other, doesn't matter. All right. Now, write that number down for yourself. And I'm speaking specifically to the people in next up, which is going to be E. I'm speaking specifically to the people who are like me. We were petrified of being broke. Petrified. We know what it's like. We hate it. Check to check. We're like, how are we going to pay the bills? Stressed out. Crazy. That was me. So I'm speaking to the network marketers who are like that. And the reason why we're doing this exercise is because in the chat earlier, Ed brought up a really good point. And he said, a lot of people do not need more training. And I think what he meant to say was a lot of people don't need more techniques on doing business. We just need to get out there and do the work. And that is 100% correct. However, there will still be people, and I was thinking this, I put this in the chat, there will be people who will need to learn stuff because they're new. They're not veterans like us. They're brand new, so they do need to learn some stuff. But even amongst veterans, and this is what I think his comment was saying, even amongst people who know everything, a lot of times network marketing veterans will not take the action. They just won't do what they need to do. And that's really what I think the comment was about. People who know so much will simply not do what they need to do. Now, if you have a network marketing veteran who knows what to do, this might be you, who knows what to do, but is not doing it, they need mindset work. They need mindset work, okay? If it's a new network marketer that is not doing it, it's probably because they need skill set work. They need to learn some skills. So that's why it came to my mind to teach this, because that comment that he made was so timely, okay? So the general rule is this: if a person can do it, but won't do it, that's a veteran. They got to work on their mindset. If a person would do it, but can't do it, that's a rookie. They need to work on their skill set. Put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. And then we'll break down column E, which is my favorite column. We're going to start to do some level 3 mind shifting right now. Did everybody write down 0 to 10? Which of their, how much you fear going broke and losing everything versus 0, which is I don't care at all? Okay, good. You wrote down your number? Okay, good. Now remember, for me, it was a 9. And being honest, it was probably a 10. I was petrified to lose everything. I just was like, it's gonna fall apart. This cannot possibly last. It was crazy, but it was that type of fear. So then you go to column E, and this is fun. You can write down 5 or 10 lines under column E, make some space under column E. Column E is all about anywhere from 10 to 20 benefits of being broke. 10 to 20 benefits of being broke. I'll give you one of my first ones. If you have no money, no taxes. I'll start you off. No taxes, none, none. That is a benefit of being broke. Put some other benefits of being broke in the chat. And if you see one you like, write it on your list. But this is exercise. You typically should do this for yourself, and you write down benefits of being being broke. At least 10 up to 20 benefits of being broke. Okay. Another one. Learning survival skills. I don't know how many of you have ever been super broke and homeless, but you will learn survival skills being homeless and super broke. Okay, that's another good one. Nobody's asking you to borrow money. Lynn just had a good one. Don't have to worry about going broke. All right, let's see some other of these good ones. Natasha says responsibility free. If I ain't got no money, I ain't got no bills to pay. I ain't got nothing. Okay. Belinda said a family can't ask me for nothing. Miriam said if you broke, you ain't got no spouse. Facts. That could be a benefit for a lot of people. Okay. Sean, a great one. There is nowhere to go but up. All right. Richard Fritzler said if you broke, ain't got no money, you don't have to follow a schedule. Love that one. I'm gonna tell you, look, Lillian made one of the best ones. Can't lose, nothing to lose. You got nothing to lose. Okay, so just understand being broke, there are several benefits to it. When I was broke, I developed a stronger faith and a stronger spirituality. Sometimes the way that God works, you find God when you at rock bottom. When you were at rock bottom, sometimes that's when you really hit your knees and get to praying for real and really believing and understanding. So being broke sometimes helps you to discover some hidden talents. Okay. Yep. It helps you develop resilience. I'm gonna tell you one of my favorite things. Another reason why I'm never scared of being broke. Let's say I went broke tomorrow, just had nothing, everything gone. I could move back in with my parents. I've put them in a position, or they put themselves in a position. I just helped them. They put themselves in a position where they got a house and nice little area of land for them and car. I could go move in with them. And I love them so much. I love spending time with them. So that's the crazy. If I got to find a benefit to being broke, I don't have to go be on the street if I went homeless tomorrow again. I could go live with my parents. And the fact that I still have them is such a blessing. I love spending time with them. I love spending time with them. LA said it shows people who really fool with you. Yeah, being broke will expose you to who your real friends are. Okay, you will have a motivation to hustle harder if you're being broke. If you broke and don't have nothing, you may have an opportunity to reinvent yourself, and you won't have a choice. Okay, let me tell you one of the best ones. The best ones about being broke. You will become more humble. Humility. I'm humble about 29 days out the month. One day out the month, I ain't got it. I'm stunting on them boys today. And sometimes people catch me on the wrong day. Sometimes they just do. Man, Will, I can't believe Will was that. Hey, you caught me on the wrong day, Chief. I don't know what to tell you. The other 29 days, I'm pretty humble. But that's how it is. So does everybody understand that there's at least 10, 12, 20 benefits to being absolutely broke? Okay, you can, another benefit, you can sympathize and empathize more with people who don't have money. Okay, it helps you have clarity on what really matters, because if you're broke, you might think, well, at least I'm not sick. At least my health is good. At least my kids are good. At least they're healthy, right? So there are benefits to being broke. So you don't have to. I'm not saying go broke tomorrow, but I'm just telling you there are benefits to being broke. Now we're going to move on to column F. And you can put F on the side of E or on another sheet of paper. We're going to move on to column F. Okay. And put a 1 in the chat if this exercise isn't making sense. We're shifting our mind. Like, we don't want to be broke, but I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it. I just like the one Richard said about, well, somebody said it, no responsibility. I ain't got to wake up and pay a clock, no taxes. Like, it so, ain't that bad. All right, column F, ladies and gentlemen. it's going to be the drawbacks or the negatives of column C, which is unlimited wealth. So in column F, we're going to start to write down anywhere from 10 to 20 reasons and put some of your good ones in the chat. What are some negative? You got benefits and then you got negative stuff. So there are benefits of being broke. And there are negative things about having a ton of money. Taxes, yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. If you got too much money, look, fake friends. I can tell you that right now. Fake friends. People begging for money. God, dog, can't stand it. You may become self-absorbed. Yep, Greta got another. You may waste money on stuff you really don't need. Yeah. Jessica, everybody wants something from you. Yes. Yeah. Family being super needy. Everybody needs something. They never asked you for nothing when you was broke, right? You may become proud. You may start to lose that humility. That meekness may start to go away. You got to watch that. Yeah, needy friends. Everybody knows that. Loss of privacy. You know, celebrities got all that money. They can't even go to the grocery store without cameras in their face. Ain't that crazy? Yeah, loss of privacy. Risk of poor investments. When you don't have no money, do you know you can never make a poor investment? If you have no money, you can never make a poor investment when you don't have no money. But when you got money, you can make some bad investments. Yeah, Richard said it. People in some cases will not like you. People trying to rob you. Yeah, you got to have security. If you got money, a lot of these billionaires and super wealthy people, their kids can't even go to school without security. They can't have regular friends. They can't go to sleepovers. You can't go to Disney World like regular people. You can't go to church like regular people, right? You got to have security everywhere you go. It's crazy. Yeah, the fear of losing it all. That's a tough one. You have that when you have it. Okay. Here's another one. You can get targeted in lawsuits. You ever notice people don't sue broke people? People sue rich people. You ever think about that? Yeah, right. When you have a lot of money, it's harder to find loyal people because people are so concerned with what you can do for them and not what y'all can do for each other, anything like that. Yeah, and I see it. Listen, it's gonna happen to you. That is part of the negatives about having money. Okay. Sometimes you will feel pressure to always win. Yeah, fake love is crucial. Sometimes you'll feel pressure to always win. Right? Yeah, gold diggers. It'll make you, thank you, Miriam. It'll make you hard to find true love because you don't really know if they love you or what you have. These rich folks, you just never know. There are so many negatives, okay? Sometimes when you have a lot of wealth or even any money at all, you get increased distractions from your purpose. You notice that people that have a lot of money have different negative habits as broke people. So a lot of people have negative habits, and we all have a habit or two we need to work on because nobody's perfect, whatever it is. But you ever notice that rich people just got like the wireless habits? Like, yo, that's crazy. If they didn't have money, they couldn't go buy that many kilos of cocaine from the cartel because they ain't got no money. So they're engaging in wild type stuff because they have money. Yeah, you can definitely get lazy. When you have money, you risk spiritual shallowness. Sometimes you just put too much emphasis on it. Okay. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to spend it. Okay. But you got to make sure that you're not defined by money. Sometimes this happens to a lot of people, overindulgence leading to health issues. You rarely see an overweight homeless person. You just rarely see that. You don't see the panhandler with the sign on the side of the road that's super overweight. It's people with at least a little bit of money, okay, that are just eating foolishness. Okay, here's another one. Jealousy from your peers. Jealousy is a curse. People will gossip about you. People do not gossip about you when you don't have nothing. They just don't. But when you on top and you making money, you better be ready for it. That is one of the cons, one of the negatives about being wealthy. And shame on the people who do that. But they do it, don't they? Okay. So now, do you see that, being wealthy just has some things that you might not want to deal with? Does it make sense how the thing that you think is negative, like being broke, there's a bright side to that. But then the thing that you think about having a lot of money, there are some negatives about that because there's two sides to every coin. There's no such thing as a one-sided dollar bill. No such thing. The law of polarity is a real universal law. That is unbreakable. And when you start to understand it mentally, that you know what? Being broke, I mean, it ain't good, but it ain't bad as I thought. All right. I'll be real. I not bad as I thought. Now we're going to move on to another column. Here's another column. You might need another page for this one. This is a shorter column. Let's get about 5 things on here. And this is going to be, once you understand the negatives of being broke, we didn't even need to write those down because we know what those are. Now that you understand at least 10 or 20 positives about being broke, and we didn't need to write down the benefits of being rich. You know the benefits of being rich. Marcus said it. Life was so much simpler. I said the same thing earlier today. Man, it was a simpler life. God, so simple. I don't want to go back to it. I don't want to be broke. But it's the fact that on a subconscious level, we're not acknowledging these things is the reason why some people go from here and go back to being broke, because they never got this stuff out of their subconscious mind onto paper and acknowledging, hey, life was simpler when I was broke. There's a ton of benefits of being broke, but there's a bunch of benefits. They start to even it out. Okay. So column G, it's going to be a short column. Let's do 5. Is going to be 5 action steps to lower the probability of you being broke. Now, this is easy. Give me at least 5, maybe 10 action steps that lower the probability of you being broke. Okay. Starting a network marketing business and taking it seriously. That's obviously one of them. Obviously. Okay. Having a financial advisor. Okay. I'm torn on that one, honestly, but only reason I say that is because I used to be a financial advisor. A lot of people don't know that. I used to be a financial advisor for one summer, and I worked for American Express, financial advisors in Metairie, Louisiana, back when I was young, trying to figure out my way in this world. And what I learned was, especially today, everything any financial advisor could ever teach, I hate to break it to you, it's on YouTube University, and anything that's not on YouTube University is on Chat GPT. And Warren Buffett said that. So when I heard Warren Buffett say that, it just confirmed for me that financial advisors, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. In certain circumstances, yes, a financial advisor can help you from going broke, but they're also taking money at the same time. But I get it. I get it. It's definitely possible, but that wouldn't have been one of my 5. But I get it though. Doing well at your job. You got a job, doing really well at your job will help you from going broke. I hate to break it to you. Okay. That was my next one, Coach Seymour. Save money to build an emergency fund. That's an action step to prevent going broke. Giving, being charitable is actually an action step that will prevent you from going broke. Okay. Investing consistently, even if it's small. Yep. Okay. Oh, that's another good one. That's on the list too. Learning new skills. Thank you, Lillian. Learning new skills. Yep. Getting out of debt. That's an action step. Paying off debt. That can help you from going broke. Yep. Okay. Here's another one. Cancel all useless subscriptions. If you got on your phone a bunch of subscriptions for all these different channels and you're only watching like 2 of them, you can get rid of the other ones. That's like $10, $20 a month times a year or 2 or 3. You can get rid of useless subscriptions. That'll help. That's something you can do to lower the probability of going broke. Okay. Getting monetized on social media. I don't think there's anybody on our team, if you attended any of our social media trainings and remembered any of it, you should not be making less than $5 or $10 a day on social media. If you are making $5 or $10, not making $5 or $10 a day from social media, we probably need to do that class again and help you get monetized, because there's no reason. There's simply no reason for you to not make a couple $100 a month. Social media, Facebook in particular, should be paying for your auto ship even before your business is. Okay, and that is no joke. And we taught the class, the people who implemented it like we said it, they got monetized on social media. The people who said, I'm gonna do some of it, then I'm gonna freestyle a little bit, they may or may not have. But there are things you can do, improving financial literacy and things of that nature to reduce the probability of being broke. Okay, does that make sense? So that's column G. Now we're gonna go to H. Now we're gonna go to H. What are 5 reasons? We talked about gratitude in the chat earlier today. What are 5 reasons to be grateful to have a fear of going broke? was 5 reasons to be grateful that you have that fear of going broke. Okay. I can tell you, for me, it being scared of going broke, at least during that season, yeah, definitely keeps you humble, definitely keeps you grateful for what you have, right? It kept me driven and disciplined. Like, it kept me moving forward. Being broke is something that kept me putting in the work, and I didn't care what it took. As long as it was moral, ethical, and legally sound, I'm doing it. Yeah, so there are certain reasons it's okay to have that fear of understanding or know what it's like to be broke. It can build empathy and connection with other people that just aren't where you are yet. Okay. It can really sharpen your purpose. Having to fit, like, I gotta stay on track. I cannot afford to jump to another company and risk money going from company to company to company and losing my commissions and getting terminated by being crazy. This is my business. I'm making it work. I've made X amount of money. I got to double down on this. Okay. So write down 5 reasons to be grateful for the perceived fear of going broke. For some of you, the fear of going broke or burning out in your business, it may force you to create systems that build even better. Sometimes when you have too much money, you're like, I don't need to change nothing. Okay. So put a 1 in the chat if we're all caught up to speed on those. We got 1 column left. Put a 1 in the chat if we're all caught up. Okay. Now remember, and this is column I. So remember earlier, I think it might have been column D, maybe column D. Remember the number you wrote down in column D? Now I want to ask you, now that you understand that being broke ain't as bad as we thought, and being wealthy, it's got some pros and some cons, and you have reasons that you're positive and excited and grateful of having a fear of going broke, because it's going to keep you hungry, keep you pushing, right? And you just figured out some new ideas and ways to reduce the probability of being broke, things that you can do this week. You can do all of those things this week, okay? Column I is the last column. What is your number 0 to 10 after you completed the exercise? When you ask yourself that question, how scared am I about being broke now? Is it a lower number? I bet for a lot of you, it's a lower number. If it's a lower number than it was, put in the chat how much lower. Like the first time I did that exercise, I went from a 9 to a 3. Okay. Somebody just said they had a 4-point swing. Okay. It was just said she went from a 9 to a 5. Yeah, it's really just about getting out of your own head and realizing that there's balance to everything. So anybody else who got a lower number, put in there. Yeah, you can put the number is. Lily went from a 10 to a 2. She's not worried about it. Just not worried about it. And I'm going to tell you as we close the call why it's so important. And you might need to do that exercise. Okay. There it is. Yeah, somebody said stay at a 2. Somebody said 50% improvement. Yeah, so that's typically what you want to feel, because that's your energy, that's your vibration, that's your subconscious mind. Somebody went from a 10 to a 5. Yeah, that's about right. Sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5-point drops, continuing from a 7 to a 2. Belinda, 9 to a 3. You understand? So let me tell you why this is so important. And we'll close the call with this, and we'll pick up more on this on Tuesday. Linda went from a 6 to a 3. That's wonderful. It's wonderful. You should, feel good about that. And this is an exercise that over time we will teach you how to do that for anything. On Tuesday, we'll go through the subconscious fears that may be keeping you from winning in network marketing. If you're a person who's saying, I'm doing everything and I'm just not getting there, when we go through a slightly different variation on the exercise, because each one's different for the thing you're trying to handle, I think you'll like Tuesday a lot. And we got Coach Seymour on Tuesday too. So that's going to be super, super fun. We got Coach Marcus with the testimonial call tomorrow. Do not miss that. That's going to be great. We got Coach Sonic and Coach Marcus, I believe, on Wednesday, and Coach Tina and Coach Marcus on Thursday. So it's going to be a great call. It's going to be an incredible week. So let's close the call with this thought. And this will bring us into Tuesday. One of the reasons that people typically do not have the success they want in network marketing, you don't have to write this down, just kind of hear it out and let it marinate, and we'll see if it makes more sense on Tuesday, is because they want to win so bad. Okay. Now, remember, we're dealing with our thoughts on a subconscious level. If I really want to be $1 million earner super bad, what is the other side of that thought? If I really want $1 million, bad, I want to be $1 million earner so bad, I want to be a diamond so bad. What am I telling myself? What am I telling myself when I think that way, on that all the way extreme? If I want to be a diamond really, really bad, it means I must not be a diamond. If I want to be $1 million earner more than anything else in the world, thank you, Susan, it means I'm not $1 million earner right now. And if I feel like I'm not that right now, then I'll never be that. So that exercise and exercises like that are designed for you to be like, I don't really want to be wealthy that bad. I mean, I do, but I'm not attached to it like that. Because they got a lot of headaches that come with that. Fake friends, taxes, audits, just stuff, responsibilities. I got to get a bigger house. I got to clean that house. I'm gonna be hearing about it all day. Oof. I'm very grateful, very comfortable. The money comes, it comes. Okay, if I lose it all, I probably won't. But if I do, there's a lot of benefits to losing everything. It's okay. And you're going to find that happy medium. You're going to find that medium. And when you find that medium, it becomes a lot easier to get all the things you want because you're not attached to it. You're very blasé about it. It's that type of, I'm good with it. I'm good without it. That's the energy. I'm good with it. I'm also good without it. That is the energy that will definitely get you what you want. But you got to really feel that. Okay. So that being said, we'll catch y'all on Tuesday. We'll catch y'all tomorrow. But I'll see y'all again on Tuesday. Good night. God bless. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Coach Marcus. Thank you, Miriam. And man, I cannot wait to see y'all in Vegas. It is yeah. And just for people who was asking, the people who were lucky enough to move fast and get those in-person tickets, remember, they got hotel rooms on the strip at the Strat and some other great hotels for anywhere from $11 to $17. The venue is going to be right off the strip. 11 to 17 bucks a night is crazy work. That's crazy work. It's dang near free. That's crazy. Okay. And the tickets, the airfare is really good right now to most major cities. And the airfare is going to drop down, from what I understand, the second week of October, like October 8th. The tickets are going to drop a little bit more. And that's going to be the best time to get them is next month. Okay. So appreciate y'all. You have a good night. God bless. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The 8th of October, Jess, you should start to see the prices drop, and that'll probably be the lowest they'll be before January. Yep. Okay. Talk to y'all soon.